Hello, my name is Tom. Today I'll be working with the EasyTouch HMI again. The topic of today's video is changing languages. I'm going to scroll down here a little bit and show you the material list along with the project description and my disclaimer. Now in the material list, if you follow the hyperlink that I have, it should take you directly to the Easy Automation website where the items are located. And in the project description, I basically tell you that I will be changing languages for select items on my touchscreen, such as push buttons, numeric entry, and trigger text. And I do suggest that you read the disclaimer here. And I'm going to continue scrolling down here now and come to the step-by-step guide that I have here. And in step 1, I'll be adding a trigger text to the screen here. And in step 2, I'll be adding the Spanish language to the trigger text. In step 3, I'll be adding a numeric entry. And in step 4, I will be changing the system's language. And here in step 5, I will be adding language change buttons to the screens. And the same in step 6, I will be adding a Spanish language change button. And that's it for my step-by-step guide here. So I'm going to go to the video. Okay, I've jumped ahead here a little bit and added a few objects to the screen and also made the edits. But there's something that I need to go over first before we start going over the edits. And that's the software does not translate different languages from the English language for you. You need to translate it yourself and add the text or have somebody else do it for you. So with that being said, I am going to show you the edits that I've made to these objects. And I'm going to start with the trigger text first. And I'm going to click on it and open up the trigger text. Now the first edit that I've made is in the label text area. Now under language, number 1 is English, so the label text says trigger text English. Now if I come back up here to the language and click the up button to language number 2, the label text, it says trigger text Spanish. So if I come over here to the text area here on the right hand side, under language I have number 1. So the on text and the off text both read hello. So if I go to language number 2, which is Spanish, it reads hola. Now that's the only other edits that I've made besides the character size and the background color. So I'm going to click on OK here. Now I'm going to come up and double click on the numeric entry here. And the only edit that I've made here is to the label text. I gave it a label name of English in language number 1. And in language number 2, I chose the word Spanish. And besides the background color and the character size and the total digit number, that's pretty much the only changes that I've made. I'm going to click OK. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and show you the edits that I've made on the switch here. And the first edit that I made is in the label text area here. I left the word switch for the label, but under language number 2, I changed it to the Spanish word for switch. Now my next edit here is down in the on-off text area. For language number 1, which was English, I left it as on and off. But under the number 2 language, which is Spanish, I changed the on text to encender, which is to turn on, and apagar, which means to turn off in Spanish. Other than the character size, background color, that's all the changes I've made here. So I'm going to click on OK. So the next thing that I need to do is I need to add 2 more buttons to my screen so that I can change from the English language to the Spanish and back to English again. So I'm going to come up here to the menu and click on Objects and come all the way down to the System Objects here and come over and down to Select Language. Now I could click here, or I could come up here to the icon and click on the icon, and it'll bring me up this little window here for Select Language. Now for my first button, I am going to use it as the English language. So under text, I am going to type in English, and I will leave the select language as number 1 here, but under the text language, I'm going to select number 2, and I'm going to give that the Spanish word for English, which is Inglés. Now I'm going to change the character size. I'll give it a 16 by 32 character and change the background to white. And then I'm going to click OK because everything looks good here. I'm going to place my button here and expand it out. Now I need one more button for Spanish. So I'm going to right click here on this button and copy it and paste it and move it down a little bit here. Now I'm going to double click on the button here, and what I'm going to do is under select language here, I am going to select number 2. And language number 1, I'll put that as Spanish. And I'll leave everything else the same. And I'll click OK. So what I'd like to do next is simulate the project for you. So I'm going to come up here and click on Simulate. And that brings up my simulation screen here. So if you notice, everything is in English here. And if I click on the English button, it remains in English. And when I click on the Spanish button, it's all changed to the Spanish settings that I've set up. So what I want to do is I want to click on the numeric entry button here and show you something. If you look at my keypad here for my numeric entry, it is in English. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to close this and show you how to solve that issue. So I'm going to come all the way up here to the menu and click on Setup and come down to Panel Attributes and click here. Right now I'm in the General tab, so I'm going to come over to the Language tab over here and click on it. And under language number 2, I'm going to change the system language to Spanish. Now I'm going to click on OK. And I'm going to go to the simulation again for you and show you. I'm going to click on Spanish, click on my numeric entry again, and my keypad is now in Spanish. I'm going to close this out, and there's one other thing that I'd like to show you. What I'm going to do is come over here and bring up another project that I've worked on. Now this is a much larger project. Now, right now it's all in English, but if I chose to add a language to it, what I could do is I could come up here to Setup and come all the way down here to Language Text and click on Export to Excel. And what that does is it exports all my tags to an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going to click on this spreadsheet that came up here, and I'm going to expand these columns out for you so that you can read them a little bit. Now if you notice, I have language tabs here. Language 2, Language 3. So what I can do is I can change these languages here for English and change that to Spanish, and then change this one to, we'll say, French. Now what I could do is I could go through and edit all of these tags here, right down the columns here for Spanish, then come over for French, or I can have somebody translate this information for me and add this in, and then import it into my project. Now my project has multi-language capability. So that's just another option with the software. So as you can see, you can change languages on select items on your HMI. So if you liked my video, or you learned something, let me know, leave a comment. Otherwise, I'll see you next video.